has the time gone? It is already May 1st. Hello everyone. So right now it is currently 11:44 at night. Woo! Basically it is finals week for college at the moment, or at least for my school it is. So what does that mean? Well, I'll tell you. Basically, I don't have any classes because instead I get to worry about studying for finals. It's great, it's great. So now, as it is May 1st, I figured I should probably film my April wrap-up and my May TBR. So I'm on Goodreads right now looking up all the books I read because currently my bookshelf is now back at home. I have no books with me except like 2. So April was an actually pretty okay reading month for me. I read a total of 5 books. One of them was a play for school, but it still counts because it's a play, and yeah, it's still a book, basically. And the rest, I believe I listened to like 2 or 3 audiobooks as well because, you know, end of the year, end of the second semester, end of freshman year, it's a little hectic. I think I worked on 5 different shows this semester. It's what my career choice is. I am just going to get straight to it. The first book I read for the month of April was The Arabian Nights by Mary Zimmerman, and that is the play that I had to read for my Concepts of Design class. I gave The Arabian Nights 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was pretty good. Not my favorite play, but I love the whole Tales of Scheherazade, so that's, you know, one of my favorite things. Moving on, the second book and actual book that I read for the month of April was Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. I finally jumped on that bandwagon and read a Lauren Oliver book. Great, the movie came out, so I was like, well, before I see the movie, I gotta read the book, and I still haven't seen the movie. I gave the book a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was pretty good. There were definitely some characters that annoyed the crap out of me, and I may be doing a review of this book. Not really sure though. We'll see. Let's just say I'm really glad that the main character's character like developed a lot. The next book that I listened to, because I don't have the physical copy, which makes me really sad because it's just a book that I really want, and that is The Amazing Book Is Not on Fire by Dan Howell and Phil Lester. This year has been a huge obsession with Dan Is Not on Fire and The Amazing Phil. I love them together, I love them apart, I love them. They are literally my favorite YouTubers of all time. Every time I watch one of their videos, or if I watch a fan's collab of videos that they've done together and stuff, like, it doesn't matter. As long as it's Dan and Phil, it just puts a smile to my face and it makes me just feel really good. And their book was no exception to that. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. Loved it so much. And what was really great was it felt like they were actually like with you, because when you listen to the audiobook, they actually have like their own commentating. It's so good. Now I really need the physical copy though. But yeah, very good book. Loved it. Highly recommend, especially if you are a fan of them. I don't feel like sitting up. So I was editing this video and I realized that I finished Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken this month as well. When I looked at it on Goodreads, it said that I finished in January, so I was kind of confused, but that meant I started it in January. But guys, I finally finished it. I finally finished the Passenger duology. Wayfarer was pretty good. I think I gave it either a 3 or 4 out of 5 stars. Really good. I like the duology. It's not my favorite, but I do really like it. It's good. That's all I'm gonna say. The next book I read was, okay, yes, I jumped on the bandwagon for this as well. I read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. Wow. Okay. I gave the book a 4 out of 5 stars. I don't have the physical copy, so I was only able to listen to the audiobook. The person who narrated the audiobook was very good. I enjoyed it so much because of like the way she was able to get into the characters and like do different voices and stuff like that. It was great. She was very dramatic at times. I loved it. It was great. The book itself, I have some problems with it, and it's obviously a very controversial topic about police brutality, especially when race is concerned, which is dealing with the whole Black Lives Matter movement that happened I'm not sure if it was this year or in 2016, but anyway, it was very recent that it started happening and stuff. I think the concept of it being a Black Lives Matter book, because there obviously aren't that many books out there for it, I think the concept is great. I think it was definitely eye-opening to some people. It was eye-opening to me, especially, because I didn't realize like how bad it could be. I'm not completely sure if I agreed with everything that went on in the book, which is why I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. And I will explain this more in a review, because I have to do a review for this book to get to maybe explain my point. I'm not saying that I hated this book at all, and I mean, I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. I thought it was very well written. I thought the story of some of the characters was just so heartbreaking and so well thought out. It was a very good book. I enjoyed it a lot, and once we finished, it was just like, damn. But yeah, I will talk about this more in a review, I promise. So to end off the month of April, I finished with To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. I finally read this book. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm not saying I hated the book. I very much enjoyed it. It wasn't my favorite. It's not one of those very thought-provoking kinds of books. It's a lot more lighthearted and fun. It's meant for a quick read, basically. There was a lot of teen angst, which now I'm not so much a fan of. So, you know, little bothered by the teen angst. That's kind of what happened with Before I Fall as well. Anyway, back to All the Boys I've Loved Before. I did enjoy the book. I think I may have enjoyed it more had I been in high school when I read this. Now that I'm in college and the idea of love isn't as fairy tale-ish, I guess, as I thought it was way back in like 9th grade or so, I've come to a better understanding of what it actually is, and I don't see things as a light and fluffy way like I used to. And so this book was obviously very light and fluffy. The main character is very immature. I mean, she's 16 in high school, right? So she doesn't really know what love is. She's never had a boyfriend before, and she doesn't really know how to express her true feelings and everything. So it was not my favorite book, but at the same time, it was not the worst book I'd ever read. I do think that I will be continuing on with the series, because I know that the 3rd book in the series is coming out this month. So I think I might be reading the 2nd book very soon. Whether it's this month or not, I'm not very sure yet. That is all for the April wrap-up, and now moving on to my May TBR. The book I'm currently reading is Every Day by David Levithan, and so far I'm really intrigued with the premise of this book. Basically, this person, because you can't really say that they have a gender. They wake up in a different body every single day, and they've been doing this for, well, I'm on day 5,999. They've been doing it since they were like maybe 8 or 7 or something. There's no real reason or explanation as to why it's happening, and there's no stopping it. It just happens every single night. There's no specific race, gender, anything like that. And the premise of that is terrifying to me. It's a real identity crisis, basically, and that is so scary. I could not imagine waking up in a different body, having to figure out who you are every single time. They do have access to the memories of the person, but like, you could change that person's life so quickly, and just, you know, like, one little thing matters. It's really scary to think about. And I'm only on page 66, and already it's like the next book that I actually am currently reading as well, even though it's not with me. I've been listening to the audiobook and reading a little bit of the ebook, is A Court of Mist and Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I'm trying to read it again, and I'm actually succeeding a little bit this time. I'm farther than I was, so that's good. That's all we need to remember. I have A Fire and Stars by Audrey Colthurst. And like I said, it's a fantasy, but what's great about this fantasy is it's about a lesbian couple, right? I believe they're lesbians or bi, but I mean, they're both girls and they're together, so lesbian couple. And I've never read a fantasy about a lesbian couple. I've read fantasies where some of the like supporting characters are gay or bisexual or stuff like that, but I've never read it where the main characters are, so very curious as to what goes on in this book. I've heard some pretty good things about it on BookTube, so that's that. I do want to continue the Harry Potter series, still on the second book, but you know, maybe hopefully soon I can get back to it. Basically, I'm reserving Harry Potter for when I just don't seem to want to read anything else. So lately, picking up Harry Potter hasn't really been a priority and stuff, which sounds really bad to say because it is one of my favorite book series of all times. For some reason, I'm not in the mindset of Harry Potter at the moment, so hopefully when I go home, I can binge watch all the movies and then read the books, and it'll be great. But until then, that is all the books that I so far have planned to read for the month of May. What's great about May is it is before I start working for the summer, and that means I will have more time to read. I don't have to worry about schoolwork, I don't have to worry about working shows, I don't have to worry about working at the church, all this kind of stuff. I just gotta worry about books. But anyway, guys, that is all for me. That was the books I read for the month of April and the books I plan to read for the month of May. I'm sure there will be more books to that list once I start getting back into reading. I'm really slacking at the moment on my reading challenge for the year 2017. I currently have 14 out of 50 books read, and we are already in May. So hopefully this summer I can read a crap ton of books. It is 12:07 a.m. and I still have studying to do. So I will see y'all next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.